The Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission is an agency of the federal government of Nigeria established to encourage, promote, and coordinate investment in the country. NIPC role is designed to proactively promote Nigeria as an investment haven to further stimulate foreign direct investment to aid national development. Our crew in Abuja visited the agency's office and had an exclusive interview with the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the agency. Take a listen.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for deeming it fit or deeming me fit to be interviewed by your eminent self. I don't take it lightly. As you said, there are many different agencies, probably about 400 to 500 government agencies. So if I'm one of the chosen ones, it's a privilege. And similarly, it's a privilege to be also able to serve in this capacity, because when I first came here, I told the people that there are probably 20, 30 million Nigerians who could do this job, but God in His infinite wisdom through Mr. President has deemed it fit to appoint me. And so I don't take it lightly. I'm a lawyer with about 33, 34 years of experience as a corporate commercial lawyer. And that's what I was doing before I came into this job. I've had the privilege of working in Nigeria and also in the US, where I did not just law as well, but also business consulting for US companies doing business in Africa. So to some extent, those few years that I spent as on a sabbatical from law have helped shape me. I am a lawyer with a master's in law and also a postgraduate diploma in organizational leadership from prestigious Oxford University. And so coming into this position in October 2023 was a real eye-opener for me, because it was my first real substantial foray into government and seeing how government works from the inside. But when people ask me why I left corporate legal practice to come and do this position, I said, well, we can't all be critics of government. We must all roll up our sleeves. Nigeria belongs to all of us. We must all do our best to be able to contribute our quota and to see how we can help to transform things. We can't just sit and complain. We have to bring private sector practice and use public sector institutions to see how we can effect change. So that's why I'm here. Thank you. And like you said, we have a very robust law, piece of legislation that set us up in 1995, even though the commission itself didn't start full operations, I think, until 1999. Standing on the shoulders of people like Engineer Mustafa Bello, who is here, who is an institution in himself here, I think the core staff that were engaged from the beginning, they put a lot of effort into training them. Because, of course, investment promotion is not something that you go and study in university. It's something that you are trained to then, become an investment promotion officer. I guess to some extent there's a marketing angle as well. But I think he laid the foundation. He laid a very solid foundation in terms of the structure of the place and some of the pioneer staff. I'm grateful for him and those that have gone, that have come on since then. It did suffer some challenges because, of course, like some of the things that we have seen, some systems and processes became dated, and I don't think that the organization kept up as quickly and as rapidly as it should have done. So because times have changed and things have moved very rapidly. So human capacity development is something that's very important, and I think that as time has gone on, due to limited resources and perhaps not conflicting, but maybe diluted interest areas or government priorities, it suffered from some of those setbacks. But like I said, when the foundation is solid, it's very easy to build on it. And that's what I'm trying to do, to rebuild. So, like I said, when I started when I collapsed my own boutique practice into this bigger law firm that has now grown into this Pan-African law firm, we had a vision where we were going to become the leading law firm across the continent. Okay, similarly, what I've done is I've transplanted those visions that I had and the methods that I used in building this law firm, I've transplanted them into this organization, which means that, first of all, you have to start with your people. If your people are not happy, if they're not properly remunerated, if they're not properly trained, if they're not, they cannot deliver your vision for you. Because if, for example, I use an analogy, if I'm an architect and I put up fancy designs and drawings and whatever, if I don't have the right builders, the right welders, I cannot, that vision is only on paper. Okay. So human capacity development, training, welfare, very important. And that's what I started with, because I realized that there were people here who have institutional memory, who have capacity, but who may not necessarily have had the opportunity to be able to deliver. So working with those people, training up the younger ones who were not necessarily exposed to the same experiences as the older ones. So just trying to have this healthy mix, bringing in public service, institutional memory and processes with private practice, with my own experience from private practice, to have this healthy blend. So trying to professionalize the institution. Of course, like I said, growing a law firm, trying to make it a Pan-African law firm, there is absolutely no reason why the NIPC, being the investment promotion agency for the country, cannot be the leading investment promotion agency across the continent. Across the African continent. Nigeria has everything.
So, but where are we? Why is Nigeria?
We're not where we're supposed to be.
So which number are we?
I don't like to use numbers because
but where do you place this country so that we would see that, look, you are taking this institution from here to here.
Yeah.
And you are telling Nigerians, this is what I'm doing. And which is a very good news.
You know, thankfully, we have a clear, this administration has a clear agenda of what it's trying to achieve with the Renewed Hope agenda. So what we are doing is we are reconfiguring ourselves to tie into that agenda, because everything that the administration is doing is exactly what we want to be doing. So like I said, we have recalibrated. What do we need to do? We need to diversify the economy. We cannot continue relying on oil. We need to build human capacity. We need to generate employment. We need to industrialize. We need to feed ourselves. There is no reason why Nigeria cannot feed not just itself, but even the continent. We can even export to European countries and beyond. So it's all of the power. We need to increase our capacity, of course, focus on renewables, look at alternative power sources. So everything that the administration is doing is what we are now trying to do to recalibrate our thinking, to slot into those key sectors. But of course, with a lot of these things, is we have to rebuild the trust. And rebuilding the trust is not just internally in terms of our own people here and our own staff, rebuilding the trust with other MDAs. Because again, what has happened is that the institution has suffered some kind of, maybe neglect is the word that I should use, or we have been ignored, rightly or wrongly. Some of it self-inflicted, others because things have happened and they've moved quicker than we have moved. So it's rebuilding the trust to get all the other MDAs for us to be able to collaborate, for us to realize that we are all mission aligned. We all should be working towards rebuilding this country. And so, of course, we cannot do it alone, which means that if another MDA goes out, meets a potential investor or is talking to a potential investor, they should work with us, because we have the capacity and the mandate, certainly, to be able to handhold, to convert announcements, to track, to just to make it easy and seamless for investors that are either coming in or those that are already in. So again, there's always this talk about foreign direct investment, but there are also domestic investors who have been here. Some are new, some are old, but we're also working very closely with them because they also have to understand how government is now looking to assist them. And so we are always going out, talking to them, finding out where their pain points are, because they become our ambassadors. If they go out and they meet and somebody says, oh, what are you doing in Nigeria? And they say X, Y, Z, that's half my job done. Again, I don't really like to throw numbers around.
It's not, we're asking.
Well, I think what we have done is we have seen, so for example, one of the things that we do here is we administer what is known as the Pioneer Status Incentive, which often gets, people misinterpret that and say, oh, they're just giving them tax waivers. But no, it's an incentive. It's an incentive that is supposed to encourage investors, because when you come and you set up, in most cases, you're doing some heavy lifting. Serious investors are doing heavy lifting. So government has, I think, but just about 99 areas where which are called pioneer status industries that encourage certain aspects, certain business sectors, to give them a tax waiver for the initial 3 years and then subsequently another 2. And the whole idea is that they're supposed to be able to have these tax breaks so that they can reinvest, first so they can recoup some of their investment, and then to reinvest their savings into expanding their businesses. And what I can tell you is that we have seen an expansion. We have seen an expansion. I think in the last year alone, at least about 5,000 new jobs created, because we monitor very closely, because even when they come up for renewal, we have to monitor and see whether they have applied those savings like they should, like they're expected to. So they're expanding their plants, they're employing more people, and then, of course, the idea being that those people are paying taxes. The whole value chain grows as a result. So we've seen a huge increase in that. The other thing is that I always tell people that investment promotion is a whole of government approach. It's actually a whole of country approach. When people go out, how we sell ourselves, how we market ourselves, how we, and again, the domestic investors, how they themselves portray their own experiences. These are all aspects of investment promotion, but we are just one agency. But what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to track. We want to be able to receive. We want to be able to assist. We want to be able to convert all of these interests into actual investments. And like you said, Retention is so important, because now again the competition has grown. Many other countries are now trying to fill in those gaps where we have perhaps lagged, and so it's a very aggressive market out there. But again, I look at it like how I used to actively solicit for clients. So you go out, you do what you need to do, you go to the cocktail parties, you go to the investment forums, you go to round tables, you go to seminars, you go to conferences, and it's a constant marketing job. You're constantly selling this dream, this opportunity, which is Nigeria. And like I keep telling people, there's absolutely nothing that you want to do in Nigeria that cannot succeed. Yeah. Okay, so the first part of your question is who qualifies.
Yeah.
We have an extensive list, but I'll give you certain areas. So, for example, companies doing renewables, companies in hospitality and tourism, because that's an area we're trying to expand, in manufacturing, and what it is so they're categories, and then, but not every applicant will succeed, because we have to actually see the level of your investment. There's a study that is done to see if there are actual deficits in the economy. You'd be amazed that some things that the amount of things that we import. So where we see that somebody is coming to set up, for example, packaging is something that is very surprising. There are a lot of imports in packaging, but where we see that somebody is actually coming to set up. And let me just clarify that it's not just about theory. It has to be in practice. They have to have been in operation for almost a year. We have to see that they are in actual operations and that they've made the investments, which are checked against their capital importation, and all that. It's a very intensive, very rigorous, very thorough process, and it's one that I'm actually very proud of myself. How do we measure? That's why I said we have constant monitoring, which is done on an annual basis. We also we have actually just engaged an independent study now, because it's something that wasn't done for a couple of years before I came, but an independent, objective audit to see the actual impact on the Nigerian economy. But what I can certainly tell you is that in terms of industrialization, job creation, employment, all of that, that we already see those the impact of those things that they have done. But because of course you cannot score yourself, it's always better to get an independent party to do it. And right now we've engaged an independent auditor to do that for us.
MDA.
I'm interested in growing the Nigerian economy.
Yeah.
I'm interested in responsible, credible, sustainable, and inclusive investments. So in whatever shape or form they come in. And you know, there's this thing about charity begins at home. So if we don't support our own people, sorry, I'm going to
No problem.
excuse me. If we don't support our own people, like I said, it's very hard for outsiders to take us seriously. So we're focused on both. But one of the very interesting things that I noticed is that when we started going out and trying to engage local companies to see what challenges they have or opportunities, or even trying to matchmake them with the foreign investors that we come across, who sometimes will ask us, oh, I want to do this. Is there an industry that I can partner with? Is there an investor I can partner with, a local investor? When we started trying to engage these companies, the amount of suspicion and resistance and pushback that we got, just because there's just this distrust of government. They're like, no, you're a government agency, you're coming to tax us, you're coming to, we don't want to get on your radar, we don't want, so we face a lot of resistance. But so it's taken a while to be able to convince them that no, we're actually here, we're offering you a service, we want to know what you're doing. Because if I go to an investment forum and somebody says to me, I'm looking to partner with somebody in rice milling, I'm not just going to look at a piece of paper or something from Google and say, oh yes, there's a rice milling plant here. I want to see it. I want to know that you're doing what you're doing. So that when I'm talking, or sometimes there are even opportunities from DFIs who want to support, who want to invest. But we like I said, there was a lot of pushback, but slowly I think, and they say, okay, well, how much is this going to cost us? And I'm like, nothing, this is a free service. We're government, we're here to support you, we're here to encourage you, we're here to help you grow. Okay.
I would like to hear that from you, madam.
I would like to give you those figures, but I'm also cautious. So what I can do for you is that I will come back to you with exact figures, because again, a lot of the things that we do need to be verified. So we work with CBN, we work with National Bureau of Statistics. To get data is something that is very important and should not be misquoted, because it can be dependent. But I will come back to you with what I will call verified data and numbers
that you have helped in.
Yes, from my pioneer status people, those figures from CBN verified, and MBS statistics. I can send that to you later. I don't want. I've talked about my people.
Yeah.
Because like I said, this thing, I cannot run this race alone. I need the support of the people. So I want to build the capacity of my people. I want to improve their welfare. I want to train them. I also want, I want to rebuild the trust that we have and the collaboration amongst the different MDAs. I want to strengthen our relationship with state investment promotion agencies, because of course there's this, when investments come in, they're not going to sit in Abuja. They're going to go out to states. So we're working very actively with the state investment promotion agencies to strengthen the ones that need strengthening, to build this collaborative, this synergy whereby we're able to direct investments to certain areas based on their competitive and their comparative advantage. So I think it's very important. So we've actually designed a program that that helps them to replicate what we're doing here at headquarters. So I also want to, because again the world has gone digital, I want to sort of automate more of our processes, to digitize some of our process. We already have some, but they're still at the quite basic stages. I think it's very important that we do that. And then, just as importantly, just to I think to close this question out, is to rebuild the trust in Nigeria, to be able to get investors, whether they're domestic or foreign, to be able to subscribe to this Nigeria first. When you think of Africa, I want you to think of Nigeria first. We have the advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement now, which means that when you look at Nigeria, you can't look at it as 250 million people. You have to look at it as a market to 1.4 billion. There's absolutely no reason why large industrialists and manufacturers cannot take advantage of this and set up and use Nigeria as their hub to penetrate the rest of Africa. Well, I mean, if you, I mean, everything that I've said now in this interview, yes. But if you think about it, it's so funny because I always used to tell them, and I think we have a banner upstairs that says, think investment, NIPC first, Nigeria first. We've always promoted that. Yeah. We've always, so when people come to me as investors and I listen to everybody, but when I hear that their areas of interest are more like trade or cash and carry, I still give them the information that they need. But for me, it's always been about how do we grow this economy? And everything in this Nigeria First policy tallies. It aligns with exactly what we've been trying to do. Think about Nigeria First. Think about how you use this as a hub for your manufacturing, for your for setting up your industries, for using it as a gateway. So NIPC is a gateway to Nigeria. Nigeria is a gateway to Africa. It's very simple. And for us, Nigeria presents all the opportunities, and there's absolutely no reason why this Nigeria First policy shouldn't work. I mean, we as an agency, we don't necessarily do any procurements as such, but certainly what we do is with all our investors, we have always encouraged them to think locally. Backward integration, very important. So even when they set up, we say, okay, but you know that in another year or so, we expect you to do X, Y, Z, which is growing the local value chain. We're promoting an inclusive business policy because, again, they're small and medium enterprises that are often left out of this equation, but they grow. With support, they can grow and they can be scaled up to be able to be feeders into some of these larger industries. So we've always promoted this Nigeria First policy. But